rocket pods yet?
Channel switched.
So
Go ahead
so
and
for
pull
the
whatever mosquito
load out
setup
here. What do you want me to load out?
Doesn't matter. Right now the meta game is like auto repair, flares.
Hover helps. Would
And
hover help
rotary.
with lock on?
No, hover. What hover does basically is it steadies your aim, like makes aiming a little easier when you're not having any momentum. And also, it gives you more vertical thrust to play with. But if you mix in the afterburners, you have a lot of that anyway. But the hover gives you a little bit more of that. It just becomes a question of how much you really need.
How often do you switch between third person and first person?
Say that again.
How often do you switch between first person and third person?
Really often. Like whenever I need
Yeah.
to see my thrusters, I go third person. Or whenever I need to see, below me, I switch to third person.
Right. I've watched your streams a couple times. That's what I thought.
So the first thing that you probably want to know, like you got the basic flying down because you've done a lid, but then do you know how to do a reverse maneuver?
I've tried it a couple times, but go ahead and enlighten me.
Well, the way you want to start off with that is you hold S, you hold A, you kind of tilt to the side, and you press shift.
And shift being, what is that supposed to be on dash?
Afterburner.
Right, I gotta remap that.
So yeah, you hold S, you hold A, and you start to tilt your nose downward, and then you hold shift. And when you tilt your nose downward, you want to angle your plane a little bit to the side, like do a little bit of a roll.
Sorry. Hold on, I was remapping my key.
Where did you have your afterburner hooked up to?
I actually use a throttle control for my lib that has all the things on it that I need mapped properly, and I don't know why it wasn't mapped to the shift key on my MOSFET. 1 second.
But yeah, when you're learning the Mosquito, a lot of what you're gonna pick up, it's kind of like martial arts where it's hard to learn how to do it, just by itself.
Right.
And then it's even harder to learn how to do it in combat. So there's a bit of a learning curve between those two things. Like I still mess up the vertical or the reverse maneuver in combat. I'm just starting to figure out how to do it consistently.
Alright, show me one time. Where'd you go?
So what you want to do is you want to hold S, you want to hold A, you can also do D, but I do A most of the time. And then you want to start rolling your nose downward into the side, like that. And see how my thrusters are pointed down right now?
Yep.
You can do spacebar to like get some elevation. And basically by just doing this part right here, where you're just holding A and S and pulling your nose down, holding the spacebar, that's called a banking turn. And it's just you floating around in a circle, right?
Yeah, I do that on a lib a lot.
Without losing any momentum. But are your thrusters facing downward right now if you go into third person.
No, they're not. Okay. There
So
we go.
that's why you gotta hold S and do it to the side, and your thrusters will face down, right?
Got it. Got it. Okay.
And then what you do, you can actually do it without holding space, and you press shift as you're doing those same controls, and you will do a reverse maneuver from standing still position.
Oh, I see.
And the best use of that,
Oh, I see. So you're actually going backwards then, is what you're doing.
yeah, you're pushing your momentum, to where your back's gonna be facing in a second, and that's how you go backwards. And also you can hold spacebar after you press shift, and it will give you even more.
Do you have to pitch down while you're doing that, or shouldn't you not have to pitch down at all?
No, you do have to pitch down, because
Okay.
if you do it without pitching down, after a second, your thrusters will snap forward.
Got it. Okay.
So what you want to do is you want to start the reverse maneuver with shift and without spacebar pressed, and then you want to press spacebar afterwards if you want more oomph to it.
Got it. Okay. Instead of just because I was trying to actually do the space bar
Yeah.
prior.
And that took me a while to learn that you can't be doing spacebar when you start it.
Because it's too fast. Then I see.
And your
'Cause
thrusters,
it's almost like you're spinning real fast. Then.
your thrusters will snap forward because you pass like a certain speed threshold or something.
Right. I gotcha.
So anyway, then the
When do you
next
use that
thing-
maneuver mainly in combat then?
Always.
Always.
When you are 1 versus 1 against another ESF, then you're usually at a stop or at a hover. You go into this hover mode where you're like a turret, and you can angle your gun and shoot at them. And when you're in that kind of mode where you have better aim and all that, that's where you need to be also dodging, and that's where the reverse maneuver comes in, so that you can still dodge and hover at the same time. So
You're typically doing that in first person while you got eyes on target, right?
yeah. But you can switch to third person to start it.
Right, to make sure you're not moving forward,
And
if you
then
will.
quickly switch back to third person or first person when you want to shoot, because the thing with the reverse maneuver is it's mainly to dodge attacks. So a good time to be doing it is like when you're reloading, and you don't need to be zoomed in when you're reloading.
Got it. Does it look like I'm doing it right then?
Go ahead and do it. Yeah, it looks pretty clean. The only issue you'll run into is your thrusters snapping backwards, and that has a lot to do with the space bar and if you give your plane enough time to slow down. So the best use
So you don't want to just wail on it, you want to actually kind of tap it then a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe a second or two at a time.
Yeah, exactly. And that'll just throw off your opponent's aim. The other thing is when you're getting behind, or when you're starting that particular version of the reverse maneuver, you either want to do it if you get jumped on the ground, and let's practice that real quick. Get on the ground and pretend you're like repairing. And then someone starts shooting at you, and you want to get the reflex where you instantly get in and start that maneuver, and then you're facing them. And they're all
yeah.
Yeah, so see, you got it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then the other place where that would be useful is, say you're running from somebody, you're doing like barrel rolls and shit, and then you get behind this cover and you have like a second where they can't shoot you. That's when you stop all your momentum and you come at them like this, and they're just like, what the hell just happened?
You turn the other direction.
Yeah, and you start lighting them up. And against good pilots, that's still good to do, But against newbie pilots that aren't going to expect you to come that way, you're going to get a big advantage on them.
Right, because they're going to expect you to be coming around the other side.
Yep. And
Makes sense.
and the main thing the main habit you want to break in a dogfight, especially a one-on-one dogfight, is immediately going to forward momentum by pressing W and starting to chase them, and especially this one when you're like missing someone and you're like, oh, I just gotta get a little closer to him, because you see how easy a shot you have on me right now as I'm trying to get closer to you. So you just gotta resist that temptation, and I still have trouble with that. But you want to be moving, upward instead of forward. That's the point.
That's similar to the lib. We're always trying to get the higher ground, right?
Yeah. Well, you don't even have to get the higher ground. You just want to keep moving.
Right.
Like, you want to keep moving, and when you're moving towards them, you're not actually moving on their screen,
Oh, yeah, so I see what you're saying. So that way they're missing you.
Yeah, you want to throw off the aim. And moving forward doesn't do that, but moving up does. And,
Got it.
And yeah, so just with that alone, you're gonna win any fight that you start off on equal grounds where they don't get the jump on you, just by knowing how to do that. And the second part of that is just knowing how to lead shots.
Right.
Like you gotta lead shots with the rotary, right?
Yeah, and same thing with the tank buster, big time lead.
So it should be similar, and you just, you try and lead them properly and, tap bullets until you have a good shot on them and then unload. But the main thing you gotta practice is mixing in the reverse maneuver as you're aiming to throw off their aim. And that's dogfighting 101 right there. That's all you need to know. But the other thing you want to know is how to do a reverse maneuver if somebody gets the jump on you. So let's say you get the jump on me. Go ahead. Just act like you get the jump on me. And the best way that we found to do that is to, start a barrel roll and also hold S like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then boom, right there.
You flip over.
Yeah,
nice.
So, but you do it from like an upside down position, and you slow on momentum. You tilt your nose up and down a little bit, and I mean you only have to do it once really, but the main thing is, to do the pitch down and the hold shift. But that takes a lot of practice to do. Let's see. You can try and figure it out. You might get it pretty easily actually because you're used to the maneuvers. You just want to start with momentum and then, flip upside down, stop your momentum, and do a little wiggle and pull downward, pitch down quick, or hold down, pitch down, and your thrusters will eventually point the right direction. That's a lot more complicated.
I see. Okay. You want your thrusters to be in the stop motion before you initiate the move. Then.
Yeah, because, and there's also something I heard about, like you can look at your speedometer, and if you're going under 60 kilometers per hour, you can do it. But I haven't messed with that too much.
Got it.
So I'm sitting here going full speed. Someone jumps me, I hold S, turn to the side, do a little wiggle, and then boom, right there. It takes about 2 seconds to start a reverse maneuver from a complete full acceleration.
Right. So the wiggle is to kind of slow your momentum down, then, right?
Yeah, it does slow your momentum down, but yeah, that's exactly what it does. But the reason why that's important is because if you don't do the wiggle, you could, it's harder for your thrusters to go down.
I see. Yeah. So the whole point of that is that you're flipping over and then you're going right into the reverse maneuver.
Yeah.
But the whole point of that maneuver is to be able to, when you're being chased, is to change direction quickly and then be able to get into that reverse maneuver so they're missing you.
Yeah, so that you're automatically in that hover fight stance.
Got it. This is a lot like martial arts, isn't it?
Yeah. And
it's crazy.
It's even harder to think about when you're in
Yeah.
fight, but this is the stuff that you want to know so that you can start to practice it.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, the Liberator game's so